Hello, Oral Production students. This is our final weekly feedback video. Today I'll be talking about business idioms and the Kaleidoscope Belfast worksheet that you had to do. So we also had an assignment this week where you had to watch a video about the ideal interview, pay attention to the things the interviewee did well, such as linking his experience to the future within the company, and other things that we might be able to do better, like speaking with more enthusiasm. Since that was mostly a reflective assignment, I'm going to mostly focus today's video on the business idioms and the Belfast worksheet. So first, let's talk about idioms. So these are expressions, colloquial expressions, modismos, as we know them in Spanish. And these are particularly ones for the business sector of your opportunities to use English. So I'm going to define some key expressions from the quiz, just in case there was any confusion surrounding those. So first of all, shoulders the blame for. That expression means to accept responsibility for something that has happened, or for something that someone else done. If, let's say, you're in charge, you would shoulder the blame for them. So it's taking responsibility for what has happened. Another expression that they covered is in over his head. That means that the person has taken on a responsibility that is beyond their capabilities. That is typically when you will hear that expression used. Another one, has an eye for. That means that the person is good at noticing certain things of value or importance. So if you have an eye for detail or for tailoring or something like that, you're very attuned to details in that area and you're good at pointing them out or noticing them. Another expression, you need to face the facts. That simply means that the person should face the reality of the situation and deal with it appropriately. Another expression, footed the bill. That is to pay for something. So if you are footing the bill, you are responsible. So if you go to the restaurant with your friends and you foot the bill, then you're paying for what everyone ordered. You're footing the bill. Another expression, heads our team. That is to be in charge of. So let's say you're on a sports team, like a soccer team, and you have a team captain. That person, they head your team. So they're like the leader of the team. That's what that means. And then finally, head over heels. That is to be completely infatuated with something. So if you're head over heels for a person or for a movie or something like that, it means that you love it. You are totally infatuated with that. You're very enthusiastic about it. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to the worksheet called Kaleidoscope Belfast. You had to listen to the video and answer the comprehension questions. So I'm going to go over the answers. Why did Stephen want his mother to put flowers in window boxes of their house? The answer is because he liked the countryside and wanted to bring some of it to his street, where there wasn't any because it was just very gray and austere. The next question, why did Stephen's mother put flowers in window boxes? Because she did not have the money. Or why didn't, And the answer was because she didn't have the money. They couldn't afford to put flowers in window boxes. They just had enough for their food and things like that. What kind of house does Stephen live in? He lived in a mean terraced house, small and cramped in a poor area of the city. Why did Stephen go on long walks across Belfast? He did so to escape the streets of his home in search of wide open spaces. How did Stephen feel when he reached the wide open space and green loveliness of Ormeau Park? He felt very pleased, but also embarrassed if anyone should notice his happiness. So for some reason, he was embarrassed that someone might notice how happy he was just to be in the park and to be where there is nature, because that's what he was very fond of. Why does the Ormeau Bridge carry the tensions of two communities who would not meet halfway? The answer is that and this wasn't as much based on the reading. This one has some historical context. So yeah, this is not a very good question. You basically had to look online to find the answer. This one is actually not in the video. But if you were wondering, the more or less correct answer is that it's the dividing point between West and East Belfast. There was a number of tension points between the sectarian Protestant and Catholic communities in Belfast, and for decades in the 20th century, these two communities were at war with each other. So that would have been the answer to that question. And finally, why does Stephen feel that the towpath by the river is his ultimate bliss? And that's because it is the closest he gets to the countryside, where he can forget that he's in the city and just enjoy the nature around him, which again is something that Stephen is very fond of. So that covers it for the answers to that part of the worksheet. This was our final weekly feedback video. For those of you taking the final, good luck, and if anyone has any other questions, please let me know. Have a nice day.